What kind of podcast voice are you doing?
I'm going to talk like this for the whole podcast.
Well, I'm just going to talk like this.
Well, then I'm going to talk like this, guys.
Hello!
Hi, and welcome to the Spin-Off Podcast. My name is Shaheer Lanier.
Oh my God, please don't do that.
Now I have to do it all day, brother.
Off. Spin-off. Podcast. Hello! I'm Brian.
I'm Shaheer.
And this is Spin-Off. I was hoping that we'd say it at the same time, so it seemed really cool.
I'm sorry, you stop it.
Out.
I mean, we could try one more time.
All right. Hi, I'm Brian.
I'm Shaheer.
And this is
Spin-Off.
Hey, that worked.
Hey,
Good job.
it didn't sound cheesy at all.
So, if you're new to this podcast, which you probably are because this is the first episode, the premise is we take a popular show and we each take turns picking a character or characters, and then we pitch a concept for a spin-off show, and then we talk about it.
That's exactly what it is. I also wanted to go back in time and say that if you are not with us for the first time, then welcome from the future. This is cool. Maybe you just played all the episodes backwards.
I hope it's a good future. I hope it's unapocalyptic as possible. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Do we have flying cars yet?
You let us know in the comments below. Let us know if you have flying cars. Even if it's 2 days in the future, let us know. All right, so should we get to the topic for today?
Today's show.
It's sponsored by Nickelodeon.
It's not sponsored by Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon, you gave us money and you don't know it.
This episode, we will be discussing the show. The show we are doing is Rugrats. Shaheer, what for the people who don't know what Rugrats is, pause the show, watch all of Rugrats, and then come back to this podcast. It's only like how many seasons?
It's 1991 to 2004, so at least 13 seasons.
Just have a you day. Stay home, watch all the Rugrats, and then come back to this podcast. We'll wait.
Rugrats is a Klasky Csupo production for Nickelodeon that premiered in 1991 and continued until 2004. The show focuses on a group of toddlers, most prominently Tommy, Chucky, twins Phil and Lil, and Angelica, and their day-to-day lives, usually involving common life experiences that become adventures in babies' imaginations. Adults in the series are always unaware of what the children are up to.
Oh, that's better. I just wrote my own summary, and I should have just copied the Wikipedia summary, so I'm glad you did that.
What was your summary?
Oh, mine was just they deal with baby stuff.
So, all right, so we're doing a spin-off show, which is interesting because our first show was Rugrats, which actually has spin-offs.
Has a couple spin-offs.
Yeah.
I didn't do any research on the second one, so if you want to talk about the spin-offs here.
All right, well, first, let's talk about the fact that it gave us three canon movies. That was Rugrats, the movie, Rugrats in Paris, and Rugrats Go Wild. It was a crossover with the Wild Thornberrys. Then there were two spin-off series, the first one being Rugrats Preschool Days and also All Grown Up. Rugrats Preschool Days only lasted 4 episodes, and it was Susie, Angelica, and Harold in preschool. I don't think anybody really watched it. I know I saw one episode, and that was when I was really out of the Nickelodeon phase. So I was like, what the fuck is this? Yeah, I cussed when I was that young, too. So
I didn't know that one existed until like a few years after it would have aired.
Well, Rugrats All Grown Up, I did not know lasted for 5 seasons.
Yeah, it probably shouldn't have. I should probably bring more.
I saw like
conversation.
I think I saw like 3 episodes of Rugrats All Grown Up, and I was like, "This is an interesting premise that I don't care about."
I watched every single episode.
Oh my god!
I know the theme song by heart.
So now you have to sing it.
Every birthday, my mom and dad would say, you're another year older, another year wiser, but I still go to school to get an education. I treat each and every day like a mini vacation. All grown up.
I really want to shout it out.
All grown up, I want the world to know. All grown up, all grown
So you
up
don't
with
know the words
you.
by heart, is what I just
Grown
learned.
with you.
I know the "As Turned by Ginger" lines. But yeah, so it has.
Can this just be us singing Nickelodeon theme songs?
Yeah,
I feel
so
like that'd be a more entertaining podcast.
So it has spinoffs already, but fuck that. We have better spinoffs for Nickelodeon. So yeah, it came out in 1991. It ended in 2004. So it's perfect time for a reboot, man. Like everything from that time is being rebooted right now. So what are you doing in your reboot?
Okay, I'm going first, huh?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a lot of classic Rugrats characters to choose from to do the spinoff. You've got all the great babies. You got Tommy, you've got Chucky, you've got Phil and Lil, you've got Susie. I'm not doing any of them. This show is going to high school, but not like All Grown Up. We are going back in time. This show is going to be following the characters Stu and Drew Pickles during their high school days. If you take the amount of time, show started in 91, they were in their early 30s. High school, they'd be early 70s. So it's going to be take place in the early 70s in high school. And I should probably get more description than that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How does that justify the fact that they were the same age for 14 years?
We're going to ignore that. I'm talking like first episode 91. We take them back that amount of years to when like they'd be in high school.
Yeah, when did All Grown Up take place?
71. I think it was a weird time.
It's kind of an interesting conundrum because
it took place in the time that the show came out, but they completely ignored the fact that
it was running concurrently with Rugrats.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, so the title is Pickles High, or any other title that is better than that, which I'm sure there are tons. It's going to stay to the typical half an hour cartoon. You know, it is probably going to follow a little bit more of the All Grown Up kind of theme, where it's going to be more for the, it's the more teen-knit crowd. It's going to be less fantasy and more actual stuff.
So it's not gonna follow Stu and Drew as high school stoners.
I mean, it could actually.
Pickles High sounds like.
Oh my god! It could just be that '70s show with the Pickles characters.
Basically,
now
it's in the '70s.
My entire thing. No, I mean, there was gonna be an episode where it turns out that they just did Watergate, but I wasn't. Nixon actually had nothing to do with it.
All right, so let me get into my show. So my show is called All Grown Down. And if you can listen to the title, you'll understand. It is about Tommy Pickles following in his father Stu's footsteps of being an inventor. He is fed up with the life of a millennial in the 20-aughts. Well, not the 20-aughts, the 20-teens. And he is suffering from what we all are suffering from, student loan debt, the fact that Trump's president and all this shit. And he decides that he wants to go back to a better time. So he decides that he wants to go back in time to the year 2009. But through freak accident, he gets transported all the way back to 1991 when he is a baby.
Wait. So your spin-off bitch is the Rugrats, but after he has grown up?
Yes.
So you're literally pitching the Rugrats.
Yes.
God damn it. Such a clever idea.
Tommy has all of his adult knowledge, so he's able to use that in order to basically Back to the Future Biff the world.
Chucky, you have to invest in Amazon.
And that's where the story takes place. But mind you that all the episodes are going to be reminiscent of the original episodes. Like, he finds himself in the original pilot when he is a baby and it is Thanksgiving Day and they are fighting over the chocolate milk.
So is like future Tommy, is he really trying to eat some dog food too?
Nah. Future Tommy knows better. But like he's also, so like B plot is him trying to get back to the future. So he's messing around with Stu's equipment and everything, you know. He's basically Stewie Griffin when he gets to the past.
Feel free to edit this out, but can we just talk about for a second about that the moment in the actual Rugrats show where there was a legit time machine in the toy store?
Oh shit, I don't even remember that.
The one where Tommy and Chucky are locked in the toy store.
Oh yeah,
they're being chased by they make a reference to like, oh, there's like a time machine, and then there is a Reptar toy chasing them, and they throw in the time machine, and the thing is sent back in time, and it's never referenced again.
Yeah. Rugrats has a lot of crazy shit in it, and the reason that I settled on this one is only because, so I was going to do a Reptar spinoff, but then I realized that I'd have to get deep into the Reptar lore, and I have no idea about the Reptar lore. So I was like, I don't feel like doing research, so I'm not going to do that. And then the other idea that I had was kind of like Jessica Jones, only different, where Angelica is an early 30-year-old, but she has not crossed over yet. So she can still communicate with babies, and she takes on baby crimes.
God, all of those ideas are so much better than mine. Can I just pitch one of your ideas instead now?
Yeah, go ahead. Switch it up.
All right, so now at this point in the episode, we are going to pitch our pilot episode. So what's going to happen in the very first episode of our spin-off series. So yeah, I guess I will start since I introduced the show first. All right, so we start off the show. It's an alarm clock going off. A hand hits it. It is the hand of Drew Pickles, high school sophomore. We look around. His room is completely neat. Everything's organized. He gets out of bed. He starts getting ready for school. It cuts to a completely trashed room, lava lamp cracked open, goo spilling out. Laying in bed is Stu Pickles, still asleep, no alarm. So Drew is the older brother by a year. So he'd be a sophomore. So the first episode starts their first day of school. So it is the first day of Drew's sophomore year, and it's the first day of Stu's freshman year. So he is coming into to high school with Drew. All right, so a thing about Drew. Drew is the hardworking, overly organized, like perfect student type. He's not the most popular guy in school, but he's not one of the nerds.
Yeah.
So, but he's got his, high state, like all the teachers love him. He's the guy who's going to be very successful. And then Stu is he's the more just goofy, fun-loving. He constantly gets into trouble, and he's always making gadgets and stuff. They're walking to school. Drew stays far off away from Stu. He doesn't want he doesn't want his little brother coming in and ruining his reputation in high school, changing up the flow of things he's gotten used to. Stu is walking to school with his best friend, Chaz Finster.
Is one of the Carmichael parents one of the token blacks for your television show?
No.
This is not a racially integrated high school, is what you're trying to tell me.
It is very white. Well, let's see.
All white.
I've never been a fan of when they do shows that are like prequels or when they're in high school and like everyone happens to meet at the same time in high school, which doesn't happen. So a lot of the characters that are in Rugrats, other than the few I mentioned and a few others pop in there, but would not actually be appearing in the show.
So, like, is there still B storylines with his father with a full head of hair?
Oh yeah. Lou and Trixie Pickles are both present. So the main theme of the show is that Drew and Stu are polar opposites.
First day of school, rap has just been invented.
I mean, it hasn't gotten to this school yet.
Stu is a freestyle rapper.
Very white.
Yeah, they are very white, but Stu is a freestyle rapper, and they are so confused. What the fuck is happening? She's just like breaking down like the craziest rhymes, and he's just like,
but it's all Will Smith songs.
It's all predated Will Smith songs.
It's just like all the movie theme songs. So he's just like
the Wild Wild West.
Here come the man in black.
So which one of them is anti-Nam?
So I definitely think like Stu would probably be the, more of the hippie style anti-Vietnam, where Drew's the all-American boy. He would be the one signing up for his country.
Right.
Yeah.
Not quite old enough to get drafted, but like really involved in it.
He kind of just wishes he would be drafted.
Yeah.
He's getting a fake ID so that he can get into the front lines. But yeah, so I thought it'd be cool. Stu's an inventor in the Rugrats, so he's always like making these random like wacky inventions. He is super into. He's gonna get super into Atari, right? No, Atari's not set. Wait, when did Atari come out? Will that work? Will Atari work in this?
Not in the beginning of the 70s. No.
Okay, so what? Well, I guess when was the height of the arcades? That was the one in those 80s. Yeah. But fuck, maybe we'll just take this in the 80s. The 80s is a much better time for a show.
Fuck it, it's the 80s now. First, the pilot episode all takes place in the 70s, but then the second episode is just inexplicably the 80s. And it's a cartoon, so like they could have just changed this, but nah. This time, it's the fucking 80s.
All right,
same age.
All right, so it's first day of school.
In the 80s.
So one of the other characters, I said I wasn't gonna bring too many characters back, but I guess technically isn't bringing it back. But first day of school, they walk into school. Stu and Chaz have a moment of being like, "This is our moment. We're in high school now. Everything's gonna change." Chaz sees a girl. Her name is Melinda, and he immediately falls in love. And that's going to be a big like B storyline throughout the series of his relationship with her.
That was really sad. Check his mom's arc.
On the Rugrats wiki, the picture is the picture of her holding up baby Chucky, from that Mother's Day picture. If you say you didn't cry, you're a liar, because that was a really sad episode.
I probably cried.
Why are there 61 pages of Rugrats characters on here? There cannot possibly be that many characters.
Rugrats has all the characters. If you put it in the 80s, you can have one of the characters get AIDS.
I mean, you can technically do that in the 70s.
I mean, but they won't know what it is.
But no, I feel like there's some stuff you could touch on in the 70s. There's some modern issues you can go to.
Yeah, just have them go to a disco that's coloreds only.
I guess I should finish up my first episode.
Yeah, your first episode has been going on for like 40 minutes.
And it's just all been them walking to
They're just walking to class.
Day of high school. So anyway, so the whole time, Stu is worried that the other way around. Drew is worried that Stu is going to make him look bad, is going to be the screw up that he thinks he is. And then the first episode, it turns out that everyone kind of likes his wackiness and his fun love and quirkiness, and he kind of becomes starts gaining the popularity. And of course Stu isn't a huge fan of that either. So of course that causes problems, and then everything's resolved by the end of the episode, and then wackiness ensues in further episodes. All right, Shaheer, what do you have?
Sweet. So the episode opens up with State of the Union from our orange president, right? Because this takes place in real life, all right? So our orange president is up there saying dumb things like he does in real life, and you see Dolly's out to Tommy just sitting in his lab. He has a gun. It's in his hand. Puts it to his temple, and he's about to end it all. And he realizes, I'm a scientist. The camera focuses from the gun to his temple to his degrees. He has multiple advanced degrees in physics and engineering. He is a very acclaimed scientist, but he has $375,000 in student loan debt, and he just can't take it. Nobody is hiring. He works at a Del Taco.
Are you going to touch on where any of the other the Rugrats are, or just
No. I was going to. I had a backstory of Phil. He died in a car accident when he was 19, drunk driving. This is very dark.
God, he would.
The first episode is very dark, and then the rest of it is just Rugrats. So yeah, I mean, we could throw that in. All right, so Phil has died in a drunk driving accident. Lil is just weirded out. She has a child. Chucky has a child. Tommy's the only one who hasn't advanced in life. Dill's a tiki torch holding guy. Yeah. So
Tiki torch holding
yeah. Dill's a MAGA alum. He has a red hat and
oh my gosh,
in a white polo.
Realize what you're talking about.
Yeah. So.
Oh my god.
So yeah. Dill went far right, and Tommy's just like, fuck, man, fuck all of this. He's reminiscent about the good old days, and he's like, man, I really wish I could get back to like 2008, 2009 when I was 18 and didn't have to worry about these problems. I'd say fuck school, take the intellect that I have and start my own startup like Spotify, Google, YouTube, all of that shit. So he invents a time machine, decides that he wants to go back to that, but he accidentally hits the wrong things, flinging him back into 1991 where he is a baby. Now, when he becomes a baby, like I said, the first episode, it's only half the episode, and he ends up smack dab in the middle of his body during the final act of the Thanksgiving game.
Wait, was that the first episode?
That was the first episode, right? Yeah.
I thought dog food was the first episode.
Oh, yeah, dog food. Well, the Thanksgiving game, because that's what I had. I was informed. Doesn't matter. So, yeah, Thanksgiving game, not the one where he really wanted to eat dog food. And you're correct. So, yeah, you're smack dab in the middle of the Thanksgiving game. He's like, what the fuck's going on? He just takes the bottle, he drinks it. He's like, things are going to change. And then the rest of the episodes are basically Rugrats, except with the higher intellect Tommy. And his antagonist is Angelica. And he also works side by side with his father, who he can communicate with in order to create a time machine to bring him back to the future.
Wait, he can communicate with Stu?
Not through words.
Okay.
Yeah, not through words. He like
He's
writes
just slowly handing him
he's helping him invent shit.
See, this is where I think a more like drawn out relationship with other characters in the first episode would be better, because I'd be very interested to see like what's Angelica doing in the future. Like, how is there?
Obviously, she's still talking to babies. I have two spinoffs happening at the same time.
You've gotta be working your double spinoffs.
Yeah. But no, maybe I should develop it more, that relationship. Phil definitely is dead. That's all I know. I was like, yeah, Phil didn't make it. Just thinking about All Grown Up and the Rugrats regular show, there's absolutely no way that Phil is a 27-year-old man.
Or take even darker, Phil died. Phil and Lil both died because he was driving in the drunk car accident. So the whole time, Tommy's just like, anytime Phil says something, he's just, shut the fuck up, Phil. He just hates Phil as a baby.
Also, Tommy as a baby is a drunk. Tommy is definitely
oh my
drinking.
God, he's constant. Like, he's just like, oh man, all he needs is a sip of beer and I'm hammered.
He is fucked up as a baby.
He's just, anytime parents are having a party, just like taking sips of Bud Light and just living it up.
But yeah, no, that's my pilot episode, and that's where the series goes.
All right, so this segment is when does it get canceled? So Shaheer, when do you think my Flawless show will get canceled?
Where does Pickles High air?
I was thinking this is like a Teen Nick.
Teen Nick.
Is that still a thing? Is Teen Nick still a
Teen Nick is still a thing, I believe. I have no idea. Don't quote me on that.
Or
is Teen Nick was a channel, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so Teen Nick is probably definitely a channel still. I don't know. I can't corroborate that.
I mean, we could look.
Yeah, no, that's where Nick Splat is, right? where they rerun all of the the shows that we had when we were kids, including Rugrats.
Yeah, T-Nick is a network. So yeah, be on T-Nick. And then if it does too well, then Toon Disney will buy it, and it'll be called Disney's Pickle High.
Sweet, and then Chaz is gonna have his own school that's shaped in the shape of his head, right? All right, so if that's the premise, then Pickles High gets canceled after 2 seasons. Yeah, I just don't see it surviving over on Disney Network, especially with such relatable kids. And Girl Meets World got canceled, so they're not going to be able to take on those highbrow things like the Vietnam War and civil rights and rape. So yeah,
wait, who said rape?
There's 100% a rape episode in Pickles High. So
just every single episode is a very special episode.
Why would it not be? It's the 70s. Everything that happened in the 70s is a very special episode. There's nothing that is okay in 2018 from the 70s. Like literally nothing. Football, terrible. Basketball, not integrated. Schools, not integrated. War.
That I think that's integrated. We're fine with letting.
No, I mean like war. I mean war is integrated, but I'm just saying war. It's not cool in 2018, and like the draft and all of that shit. Yeah, just sexual promiscuity and violation of women's rights. Yeah, like every episode of the 70s is a very special episode. That 70s show made in 2018 is very different. And that's what your show is. That 70s show.
Think everything I've done. Yeah, no, this gets canceled after like the first episode. This gets aired, and they're like, "Oh my god, what have we done?"
No, see, all right. So I think so with your show. I mean, it's an animated show, so I can't see if they've greenlit it. They have to make a first season. So I think it definitely gets through the first season, but I just honestly I don't know how attached we are with the adults, because one of my first episodes, instead of him going back in time to be a baby and do everything, it was going to be based on the episode where they showed Stu and Drew as babies, and it was gonna take place in yeah. But then I was like, I mean, like I'm not really in love with either of those characters.
I will make you love these characters.
All right. Well, if you can make me love those characters in the first season, then it will get a second season downright. Nickelodeon tends to let their shows run very long. So, yeah, like it'll definitely do 1 season, probably do 5.
Okay. Also, no matter what happens, in the very last episode, Stu will invent that weird cat robot thing that is in the
great.
The intro for the Rugrats, because that's never explained.
Great.
Okay, what network is your show on?
My show is Tricky. It actually, the first episode aired on a reboot of Oh Yeah Cartoons. So yeah, like depending on the ratings of that episode is when it goes to series. So like you could cancel it after 1 episode, or you could cancel it after a full season long order.
And then Netflix will pick it up and run it for...
Oh yeah, Cartoons is on Netflix now. It's like, you know how Amazon has the 1 episode pilots? Yeah, so that's what it is, just on Netflix. In your version, reality. In my reality, Oh Yeah Cartoons was rebooted by Netflix in order to create new shows.
Make it happen, Netflix.
Yeah, I just made a lot of noises. Hopefully they weren't picked up by the microphone. But yeah, so Oh Yeah Cartoons, and then it gets backdoor piloted into it from there, like Chalk Zone and all of those other shows. Fairly Odd Parents, etc.
So, yeah, I mean, if it's starting on Netflix, then that's the case. I feel like you at least get a solid...
Also, it's a hard R.
Oh, okay. You get like 3 seasons.
Sweet.
It's going to be one of those instances where everyone like thinks they might get canceled, or they might get a 4th season. So they kind of leave the last episode of the 3rd season kind of open-ended, where he thinks he finally gets a time machine going, and then jumps in, but we're not sure if he actually goes or he's still stuck there. So kind of leaves a nice little open-ended kind of thing.
Did you just write the end of my show?
I just wrote the end of your show.
How fucking dare you? The nerve on this guy
Well,
to write the end of my show. All I gave you...
You wrote my rape episode.
Yeah, all I gave you was a rape episode. But that's serious, okay? And I didn't even write it. I just threw the suggestion out.
Well,
I didn't tell you that Drew is the one who gets raped while getting hazed in high school for trying to join the soccer team. That's what happens. You should write it. You should write it down. You should write it down now.
Okay, I'm writing this episode. I'm only writing the rape episode.
Just only the...
Sir, this is the most disturbing fan fiction.
Why did you do this? Who are you? This is $30,000. Please make it. Yeah, so for some odd reason, even though nobody's listening to this, we would like your input. So if you go to www.spinoff.tumblr.com, hopefully that is a real thing. I did it. That's why I said hopefully it's a real thing. Maybe we should make it right. No, don't even check. Just spinoff. We're not checking this. Go to www.spinoff.tumblr.com and vote. Which series would you like to see? Pickles High?
There's no Tumblr, so we can make it.
Pickles High or All Grown Down. So yeah, go to the Tumblr, vote for which episode you like more. Which series you like more, and also write your comics down. Which spinoff would you do? Would it be a Harold-centric spinoff? Because that's the greatest character that Rugrats ever gave us, right? Would it be a spinoff about Kimmy before she went to America? Anything's possible.
Or is it all about Cynthia? Day in the life of a doll.
Yeah. Oh my God. In the Angelica thing, she can communicate with Cynthia. Yo, this is a show. I'm making this show. Fuck the all grown. This Angelica one is a show.
Can I write the end of that one too?
Yes, you can.
It just turns out she was in the psych ward the whole time and is just in a white room.
Actually, the first episode ends. It actually starts with her. I'm sorry to do this, but the first episode starts with her getting out of the insane asylum. Because
let's just repitch all our shows. Welcome to Spinoff.
Because she had a baby and it talked to her and she was frightened and dropped it and killed the baby. So when she went to jail and then they went to trial and they said, what happened? Like, why did you murder your baby? And she said, it spoke to me. And they thought she was crazy. So throw her in the insane asylum. She gets out. It's 7 years later. She has to keep it a secret while also performing these missions for babies in order to atone for her dead child.
My God.
So yeah, this is where we sign off.
All right. Sign off.
I'm Shaheer Lanier.
I am Brian.
And this is Spinoff. See you later.
Off. Spinoff. Podcast.